All right, we're taking a look at our third problem, dealing with increasing and decreasing functions and relative min-maxes, and I want to take a look at this particular one. F of x equals x minus x to the 2/3 power. All right, we're going to take a look at this, and if you recall, we take the derivative and make it equal to 0. And there's a reason I chose this particular one. Derivative of x is 1 minus, now if I use the power rule here, I'll have 2/3 x to the negative 1/3, which can be rewritten as x minus 2 over 3 times the cube root of x. And now we take a look at this, and we have a fraction here, and we have a variable in the denominator. And anytime we do that, we must combine these two with a common denominator. And the reason why for that is our critical numbers exist both in the numerator and the denominator. So when the numerator equals 0 and the denominator equals 0, we have possible relative mins and maxes. So we need to take a look at both of them. So the common denominator is 3 times the cube root of x, so I can write this, rewrite this one as 3 times the cube root of x over 3 times the cube root of x. That's 1 minus 2 times 3 times the cube root of x. And what I have here, excuse me, is I have 3 times the cube root of x minus x here, minus 2 over 3 times the cube root of x. So I'm going to let both of those equal 0. Again, when the numerator is equal to 0, that means I have horizontal tangent lines, and when the denominator is equal to 0, I have vertical tangent lines. So I have the cube root of x minus 2 equals 0. Cube root of x is equal to 2. Cube root of x equals 2/3. To solve for x, I cube both sides, and x is going to equal 8 over 27. Okay, so that's one of my critical numbers. The next one, I have the cube root of x is equal to 0. The cube root of x equals 0. Cube both sides. Notice the same steps I did before, and I get x equals 0. So I have both of these values, and I'll actually figure out what the extrema are here. If I put in 0 into f, I get 0, and if I put, to figure out my y value, I'll put 8/27 into this. I'll have 8/27 minus the cube root of 8/27 squared, and gives me 8/27. The cube root of 8/27 is 2/3, squared is 4/9, which is 8/27 minus 12/27, which is a negative 4/27. All right, so we're going to work with that, and I'm going to look at my intervals here. Again, these are my critical numbers. X equals 0 and x equals 8/27. So I have negative infinity to 0, 0 to 8/27, and 8/27 to infinity. And my test value here will be a negative 1. My test value here probably 8/27. Maybe 0.1 will work. I'm pretty sure that will work. And we'll use 1 here. So if I put a negative 1 into here, I'll have a negative 1 minus Well, negative 1 squared is 1. The cube root of 1 is 1, so I have negative 1 minus 1, it's going to be negative. Here, if I put in 1, I'm going to have 1 minus 1, and I get, oh, excuse me, I got to put it into the derivative. I'm sorry, I'm putting it in the wrong place. So if I put a negative 1 in here, yeah, I want to figure out what f prime of a negative 1 is. If I put a negative 1 into f prime, again, I'm taking a look at the signs, the cube root of a negative 1 is a negative 1. 3 times a negative 1 is a negative 3, so I'll have 1 minus a negative 2/3. It's positive. I'm sorry about that. And this right here, if I have the cube root of 0.1, so I'm going to go to a calculator, see if I can get some help here. And exit this. And I'm going to go to my menu. And I'm going to take the cube root of a negative 1, or of 0.1. Let's see, where's the cube root? There it is. And that's going to give me 0.464 times 3, 1.392. And if I take a look at that, I want 2 divided by that answer. And then I'm going to have 1 minus that answer. And now all I'm looking for is that's negative. So this is negative here. And then when I plug 1 in there, again, I'll have 1 minus 2/3, so it's positive. So it means that 0, 0, 0, now it's going from increasing to decreasing, so 0, 0 is a relative max, or a relative maximum, because f prime, or the derivative, changes from positive to negative. And if I take a look at 8/27, comma, negative 4/27, that's going to be a relative minimum, because f prime of x changes from negative to positive. Okay, so now let's bring up that calculator I had before. See if I can find it here. If we take a look at that, let's exit. And I did have that graph here. And we're going to draw this. And there's the graph. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have it look at these maximas. Okay, and if I do that, there it is at 0, 0. So I'm going to G-solve again. I'm going to look at a minimum. And it's right there. It's 0.296, which I believe is 8/27, and negative 0.148, which I believe is a negative 4/27.